Here it is, the latest mini scale rig that has a lot of people talking. It's the FMS Model's FCX24 K5 Blazer. And yes, it's licensed by Chevrolet, so it's got Chevy logos all over it. Now, I actually received this a couple days before its release, but I was headed out to a trip in Newport, Rhode Island, and actually decided to bring it along with me. So you're gonna see some sand on these models as I go over them on the workbench to tell you about the details and some of the things you don't wanna miss, because there's some stuff included inside the box that's limited to the first run of this model. The K5 Blazer, it's a 124 scale 4x4 ready to run, and it comes with everything that you see right here. The only thing that you need to provide is 4 AAA batteries for the radio system. Now, it's also available in 3 colors, the orange, the black, and the brown. Let me know which one you like in the comment section below. Let's go over the parts that it comes with really quickly. It's got the newer V2 radio system. It also comes with the battery pack, of course, a 380 milliamp LiPo pack, USB charger, box wrench, some license plate decals, and then we have the roll bar. This is an option that it comes with, so you could go and customize the rig because the cap comes off. How cool is that? So as you can see, it also has light pods for that roll bar, and of course the screws to go and attach everything. Now, these 2 little bags over here, these are for the shocks. So you've got some preload clips to adjust the ride height, and as you can see, this orange one is already sagging. I think I gotta add a few, and it comes with these shock O-rings. This is gonna be really important, and I'm gonna tell you about that later on in the video. But look at these things. These are really cool, especially if you're a square body Chevy fan. They've got chrome bumpers, the grille's also chrome, and the mirrors. I like how it's got tinted see-through windows. There are clear lenses for the lights straight from the factory, and the marker lenses are also clear. However, there are no LED lights behind those. The body on this one doesn't have any body clips that you could see on the top side. They're actually located on the bottom side of this, and they're just squeeze clips, and the body pops right off. And it's only connected after that with a wire that plugs into the speed controller to power the LED lights. As I mentioned, the cap does come off if you want to go rock it with no cap whatsoever, or throw the roll bar in, or you could put these on. Now, these are included for the first wave of pre-sale kits. It's the rooftop rack and the optional off-road front bumper. Now, this is gonna be only available up until May of this year, 2023, and after that, supposedly these aren't going to be included in kits. So if you want to go and get these option parts, so you can go throw a roof rack on it, or even the front bumper, I'd go and order this up now. I will have links in the video description below for you. Let's pop the body off so I could show you the FCX24 chassis that is super familiar to a lot of people in the hobby. There it is, I popped the body off. There are the clips underneath that secure it to the frame, and there are the front LED lights. Now, here is the FCX24 chassis. It's a composite chassis. We've seen this before on the Power Wagon and on the Smasher. Now it's made its way to the K5 Blazer. It has the shock hoops integrated into it. Battery sits in the center. I like that they now have this battery strap, where before it used to be an O-ring. Helps secure the battery and wires a little bit better. Now let's move quickly onto the suspension. It does have the friction shocks. There is no oil in those, and that's where the O-rings come into play. You could go take these shocks apart, put the O-rings in, and fill them with oil, and you'll get a much better damping setup. And already having driven these, I'm gonna tell you, it's kind of a must, especially with the weight of this body. Plastic lower links with metal pivot balls, Y-link up top, both front and rear, and it's got a pretty good amount of articulation, and you'll actually see with the body weight on here, it really maxes out when you're going through the rough stuff. The axles on here are their portal axles, and much similar to the Smasher setup, where it's got a mix of bearings and bushings on the inside, metal portal gears, a little bit of grease on them. And for those guys that like to run a lot of grease when running through water and stuff like that, you might want to go add some more plastic gears for the ring and pinion setup. It's just a spool in there, no gear differential. And then the really important part that people love, the 2-speed transmission on this. So in low gear, this has a nice slow crawl to it, and then in high gear, this thing really books faster than a walking pace, which is what people love. The electronics on here, very familiar again, the FMS R3A, which is the speed controller and receiver combo. This is the V2 setup. Right behind it is the shift servo, and then it has the Power Dash 130 motor. Up front, metal geared steering servo, and it is equipped with a servo saver on it. Like the tire and wheel combination on this, just a lug setup, Nice chrome wheels. And as some of you know, there is a lot of aftermarket support for this already. Now, let me show you this killer action footage of these driving on the shoreline up in Rhode Island. We wound up having a great time with the K5 at the beach. I'm really happy that these showed up on time so we could take them on our trip. Now through the sand, it was pretty impressive. We were mostly driving in low gear and it was trudging through the sand, and then when we noticed it kind of bogging down, we throw it into high gear and it just muscle its way out. I was pretty impressed. A little bit of that is thanks to the portal axle setup. I know it's not totally scaled to a K5, but it really comes in handy so you have that extra clearance of the axle. Also helped out when we were climbing on the rocks, which was pretty impressive. They crawl pretty well. Even with the sand on the tires, we were still able to get traction on the rock and do some pretty impressive lines with it. I think it had some decent steering, even with that servo saver. It still steered really well for just us having fun on the rocks. The only thing I really noticed is just the weight of the body, especially with the friction dampers. I mean, it's so soft. When we descend on an angle, it would just want to roll on us. So we just had to watch our line. I would really suggest putting the O-rings in the shocks and adding the oil. It's just about 6 drops of oil in there. It takes a few minutes to add the O-rings in, but here, let me show you the difference. So here's no oil. You can see how springy it is in the front, and then look at that in the rear. It's planted, it's solid. So what's gonna happen is, it's just gonna help keep this truck planted better. You'll be able to get it on a bit more of an angle before it does wanna roll. It's still gonna happen because we got a high CG here. And to counteract that, what you could do is you could take the cap off if you want. I've already done it to this truck. Actually, a dog ran after this truck and bit it, so you can actually see a scratch in the paint. Forgot to mention that these are all painted before. They did a really great job with this. Really good job on the decal work as well. They actually sent me a note saying there's a couple little imperfections that they fixed on all consumer kits. I didn't even notice. That's how good these things look. But back to the cap, remove the cap on it and you'll reduce a little bit of weight. Throw this roll bar on, it looks really good. As you can see, I threw on that optional front off-road bumper. It looks really cool on the black rig. My only gripe about this kit is going to be the rear window. Once you take the cap off, it's just a slab of plastic in the back. Actually, the window molding looks flat in the back, so maybe you could cut out a rear window if you really wanted to, but that's really it. For a stock out of the box rig for just pure fun, they have something going with this FCX24.